I've game wise, dude. My PlayStation 5 is unhooked. It's done.
Mm.
I'm on track for PS5 Pro. So, dude, I've been like since I finished Silent Hill, been like I've been bouncing all over the place like some kind of like old video game hobo. Like I take the boxcar train with my duffel bag in a with a stick, and I'm going from console to console, just seeing who would have me. So I've been playing like my Xbox. We still have a Series S. It's been like occupying the closet. I've been on my Dreamcast, on my Steam Deck, on my Genesis, just looking for something to click. And all I want to do is play that Sonic and Shadow Generations. But I don't want to go. I don't want to go into Drake's room to play on his console.
Mm.
So, because I know that once I get on it, I'm not going to be able to get off of it. But
Where does that sound decision?
Yeah. I'm going to go and ask a question that has been asked on almost every podcast. Are we recording?
Yeah, I've been recording for about a minute and a half.
Okay. That works for me. At this point, I think probably listeners probably expect me to say it. So,
probably.
I just don't know. I never know.
Well, I mean, part of that is like I need you to talk a little bit so I can make sure that the audio and stuff is being recorded properly. So I don't start it as soon as we start talking because I don't know if the audio is going to be working right. So like whenever I see that everything looks correct is when I hit the button, and it's usually in the middle of a conversation, and I just don't like. I'm recording now, so
yeah. Well, this is the Columbus Day stream like 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
So the joke that I had for that one is the only Chris Columbus that we celebrate on the Gamedads podcast is the famed director of Home Alone and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
That's right.
So fuck Christopher Columbus.
Fuck Christopher Columbus. It just reminds me of a meme that I saw that literally I had to show Andrea because it was so funny. It's a picture of Homer. I don't know what he's doing, but like his face is making the most like comical, cartoonish F sound. Like you can just see in his face that he's about to say something with a really like strong F, and like he's like bent over and he's like frustrated in rage, and his face is about to say F, and then the meme says, "How I pronounce the F and fuck Christopher Columbus." And it's like, yes.
There's the Bugs Bunny one too.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
I don't remember what he was trying to say, but see Bugs Bunny meme. I spelled meme wrong. Oh wait, that's Big Chungus. Never mind. I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole. Maybe no pun intended. But
all right, well, I gotta do the classic intro. Welcome to the Gamedads podcast, where we talk about video games and everything except video games, but also video games.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes we talk about Diddy.
We're not doing that again.
Why not?
Because
why not, Aaron?
Because the Diddy stuff is hell. It's hell. It's every person who has written a song from 1999 to today was secretly talking about Diddy, and everyone just like
everyone.
It's just like that's what the memes are doing right now. It's like, oh man, you ever heard this song by J. Cole? He's talking about Diddy. You ever heard this song by Lil Wayne? He's talking about Diddy. You ever heard this song by Silk the Shocker? He's talking about Diddy. You ever heard this song by Mystical? He's talking about Diddy. Like, no, no, he's not. No. Eminem wrote this song and he took a shot at Diddy. He's the only person in the world who ever took a shot at. I'm like, oh my God, shut up. Just wait till the actual facts come out before you start memeing everything to death. This is actually serious. I need you guys to chill out and take it seriously for a little bit.
Yeah. I think memes are probably my least favorite thing about the internet. Like, legitimately. Like, I don't think that everything needs to be a joke. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, comedy you can find comedy in anything, dude. Like it just kind of is what it is. But I don't think everything needs to be like pieced out, and I don't know. Maybe I'm old, I guess.
It's
Calm down.
I think it's a propensity of kind of the younger generations, is because like they just their humor evolved in a way that just like nothing is sacred, but like so unsacred that like is nothing's important. So like anything can be made into a meme. Anything. Like
Yeah,
I'm
I
I'm only
think.
gonna I'm only gonna do this one, and then I'm changing topics. But the amount of TikToks where someone makes a joke about baby oil just recently since Diddy came out, it's to the point where it's not even scandalous anymore. It's just a meme. Baby oil just means you're an abuser or a harasser, and like people just throw it out everywhere. It's like
Yeah,
the thing that you're talking about is extremely messed up. It shouldn't
yeah.
become a joke this fast, but like I said, they're just like, that's a joke. Who cares? Like,
How quickly were we laughing about 9/11?
God, I
Don't answer that question. That's meant to be rhetorical.
okay. First of all, I mean, I
Don't answer that, please.
I I don't think I still don't think I've hit the point where I make jokes about it. It hit me right in the right place at the right time, where I was terrified about it for a very long time, and
Oh, dude, we all were.
like like I remember, because like I was on the internet a little bit during this period, and like deeper than most people were, and like people were like, "Oh my god, Nostradamus wrote a prediction about this, and it specifically says that the towers are going to fall in the city of the apple, and blah blah blah." And I was terrified for a long time about it. Like
Yeah,
I was just young enough that I didn't really understand, like, people get on the internet and just say dumb stuff, and like, no, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be at that point, because it's really like shaped our teenage years as, people who fell right into that age range. But like,
oh yeah,
yeah, but other people on the internet, I'm I
yeah.
can't say I haven't seen my fair share of 9/11 jokes, but I will say I don't think I've ever made one.
Well, I mean, there was that week or two, maybe a month, possibly, where everybody was legitimately on the same side, and just it brought people together in a way that nobody was expecting. And then there was the Bush did 9/11,
Yeah,
I think we should pivot.
pivot. Let's go to what you playing. I'm gonna start up,
Go for it.
guys, guys, guys. Sparking Zero is the best anime game that's ever come out, period. The only thing that comes close to it is Dragon Ball Fighters, and like, I like Dragon Ball Fighters from a technical standpoint, but from a game standpoint, I honestly might think Sparking Zero is better.
Dang.
Like, Sparking Zero, I dabbled in the versus battles, like the online battles, a little bit, but I've had it since release day, and I haven't finished the story mode, because every character has these like absolutely wild tangent what ifs, and I gotta spoil one just because I want to get I want to get you to buy it if you haven't already and play it.
Go for it.
Okay, there's a what if situation. So here's what happens. Almost every major choice in Dragon Ball Z, I mean, they tone down a little bit as you move out of the story modes of like Goku and Vegeta and Gohan, and then like there are other story modes that you can go through, and there are less what ifs within those stories. But like every decision that Goku makes in the entire series, you can pick an alternate route and like go through like 4 or 5 or 6 different missions that are completely separate from the Dragon Ball Z storyline, and like all of them are fully voice acted and animated. Like, it's not like you go into it, and then like the narrator says like, well, what if Goku does this? Like the all the characters are fully voice acted and animated, and then they literally go through these insane what if stories. So
That's awesome.
the one that jumped me out of my seat, you decline Piccolo to go with you to fight Raditz. You just say like, nah, I don't need you. Like, we're not friends. I'm not doing this. So Krillin and Master Roshi go with you to fight Raditz.
Oh God.
You fight Raditz with Krillin. You have the option to jump out of Goku, Krillin, and Master Roshi. I fought him with just Goku because I was like, my brain wasn't even ready for what I was seeing, so I just assumed it was like, oh well, this is just you as Goku solo. But like, if you pull up the character change option, you can pick Roshi or Krillin. You can jump out to either of them and fight Raditz.
There's people out there that have like, can you let people die and then continue on from there?
I mean, like I said, I fought just as Goku, so I don't know what happened specifically if you use the other characters, but like, you have the option to.
Let Goku and Krillin both die and just let the whole story center around Roshi.
That would be awesome. So what happens is you fight Raditz. Goku runs up on him and throws a Kamehameha. Raditz dodges it. Then Krillin throws a Kienzan, and he's like, this is my new technique I've been working on. It's not all the way polished, but here it is. Kienzan, and he throws it. Raditz dodges it. Then Roshi comes up behind with his lightning surprise, catches him with his lightning surprise in the air, and then Piccolo shows up out of nowhere and hits him with the Makokosa Po and kills him. So that's how it ends. Goku doesn't die. Like, Raditz is just dead. Then they're like, Raditz is like, oh, well, this is my other Saiyan brothers are coming, and they're gonna, like, come up and kick your butts. And then, so, Goku, Tien, Chaozu, Krillin, Yajirobe, Gohan, and Piccolo all go to Corn Tower to train together. Gohan can't keep up because he's never trained before, so Piccolo's like, look, I'll take Gohan, I'll train him separately, you guys train together, and we'll go from here and see how everything turns out at the end of this year. So they all train together. So Krillin, Tien, Chaozu, and Goku all train together, and Gohan and Piccolo train separately. Then when the Saiyans show up, Goku fights Nappa straight off the bat. Tien doesn't die. Like, there's literally a scene where, Yamcha doesn't die. There's literally a scene where Goku jumps in to like stop the Cyberman from blowing up on him.
Oh wow!
So then all of them fight Nappa. Like, basically, Nappa, because he's still stronger than Goku because he doesn't have Kaioken or anything like that, he didn't train with King Kai, he kicks all their butts. Goku gets a Senzu bead, gets up, then he fights Nappa again and kicks Nappa's butt. The same thing happens where Vegeta throws him and blows him up. Then all of the rest of them fight Vegeta together. Again, you can pick any of those characters to fight in this battle against Vegeta. Vegeta ends up knocking Goku out. When Goku gets up, he finds everybody dead. Vegeta is standing over Gohan about to kill him, and then Goku sees that Krillin is dead, gets pissed off, goes Super Saiyan, turns around, beats the crap out of Vegeta. Then they like, oh, well, all these people died, so now we have to go to Namek to get the Dragon Balls to bring everybody back. So they go to Namek. They get there. Goku gets there. Goku goes by himself. He gets there. Everybody's dead. Vegeta has already unlocked Super Saiyan, got to Namek before them, and killed everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Then they have a Super Saiyan rematch where Vegeta fights Goku, and it's just Super Saiyan Goku versus Super Saiyan Vegeta on Namek. You do this huge fight, and then once it's over, Goku's like, well, you're very strong, but I proved that I'm stronger, so I'll be here waiting next time you want to fight. And then Vegeta's like, huh, all right. And they have like a bro moment where they like handshake as like the last Saiyans and like just like fighting each other purely for like the love of fighting. And then Vegeta's like, well, next time I see you, I'll kill you. And Goku's like, bring it on. And then like they leave. And that's the end of the alternate story, which once you finish it, you go all the way back to the decision on whether you take Piccolo with you to fight Raditz. And then you go from there.
So is Frieza dead on Namek too?
Yeah, Vegeta kills him.
Oh, wow. So my one complaint about Dragon Ball Z games over the last 30 years has been it's been rehashing the same story over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and which I don't mind that to the point where like especially if it's like an arena brawler, like it doesn't bother me. But you're always kind of retreading those same like story beats. Kakarot was great because it was an RPG, and I didn't mind that stuff. But do you remember, was it Budokai 3 where it had like there was an overworld, you can get the Dragon Balls, and then you can do fusions? So that was different enough to where like I got really into that. But this one sounds batshit crazy.
Okay. The best way I could say this to you is if you take just from what I've played, and like I, honestly, to give you a number of where I'm at, like I've been playing it pretty much every day since I got it, but like not for like huge periods of time, maybe an hour or two or whatever. I have gone through Goku stories, Gohan stories, Piccolo stories, and Vegeta stories. And I'm starting on Frieza right now. I'm only up to the end of Z. And
wow.
so far in the stories that I've played, the actual story of Dragon Ball Z is, for Goku, I would say it's 10% of his story mode. For everyone else, it kind of gets a little higher because there are less alternate routes. But Goku has an alternate route on every decision that he makes in the entire story. Like, there's an alternate route where I think it's if you beat Vegeta fast enough, he basically says like, oh, well, this is crazy. I wasn't expecting you to be this powerful. What if we team up and fight Frieza together instead of, you know, doing what we've been doing? And like, there's literally a story where like, instead of you going dynamic, Frieza and all of his henchmen come to Earth and you fight them one-on-one on Earth. Like, it, so many alternate stories. Like, it is crazy.
That's awesome. I like it. I love hearing that you love it as much as you do, because I know it was really hyped. The alternate stuff, like that sounds like where the real kind of meat and potatoes are.
Yeah, like so from what I've seen, the alternate stories are like I said, the actual story of Dragon Ball Z is like 10% of these alternate stories. Almost every major decision that a major character makes, there's an alternate story where they do something different. Some of them are just like, oh, well, what if, you know, instead of, you know, getting beat by Cell, Piccolo kicks Cell's ass? Well, then that basically ends the entire story right there if Cell dies before he gets beaten and absorbs the androids. And like, some of them are this huge long thing that I just explained where it's like 15 different fights that are completely outside of the Dragon Ball story. But like, that is like the story portion. And then there's also like these like custom battles that they created that are just like specific weird what ifs. And like, there are like 30 of those. And I haven't touched them yet because I haven't made it out of the story mode. Like, they put so much, like, the main complaint, like you said, that I think the thing that they were addressing in this game, I think they went, people are tired of just playing the regular Dragon Ball Z story over and over again. We have to give them something new. And like, this is the thing that I feel like gaming is running into a lot. I don't see how they could make a sequel to this.
Yeah. It's the Smash Bros. Ultimate thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's
I was listening to one of our podcasts like yesterday, and we were talking about this over and over again. But like, I don't know how they're going to make a sequel to this thing. It's so big. And like I said, every decision that Goku makes in the entire story every single one has an alternate story. I mean, I guess you could try and think of a different alternate story for those decisions, but it almost would feel forced at how crazy some of these are. Like
Yeah.
Goku goes Super Saiyan in the Saiyan saga, and Vegeta kills Frieza on Namek and just like is like, I don't care about any of this. I just want to fight you again. Like I just came here to get these guys out of the way so that we could have our fight. That's the whole thing. I'm like,
Yeah, I can see them just updating this as a platform, though.
I,
Look what they've done to Kakarot.
yeah, I can totally see that. And
Kakarot never really like that, especially when it came out. Like I know that they had the season pass and all that, but when it came out, it didn't explicitly say that it was a platform. But 4 years on now, almost it'll be 5 next year. Look at everything that they've added to it.
yeah, we still have new DLC coming out.
Dude, it's nuts. So, and even like Xenoverse, like they've got that as a platform too. But the game that will never die.
So crazy.
I'm sure. I'll bet you dollars to donuts, dude. It gets Sparking Zero DLC.
The fact that they're making DLC, Daima DLC for Sparking Zero, they're making Daima DLC for Kakarot, and they're making Daima DLC for Xenoverse 2 is just, it blows my mind. Like how is Xenoverse 2 still around? But absolutely crazy. And the thing that I feel like is going to draw so many people into it is those alternate stories. Cause like we were saying, there are so many like games where you just play through the Dragon Ball storyline, and like there are like things here and there, like, oh, what if this fight happened? And then you just like are thrown into an arena against a character that you wouldn't expect to fight at the time that you're fighting them. But like, this is like, there is a story that carries and like multiple fights. Like there's one of these what ifs that like starts in the Namek saga and goes all the way through the Cell saga.
Oh geez.
Like it's nuts. Every one of them that I've played so far, every alternate story that I've run into so far has been awesome and fun to run through and fun to watch and listen to. And like, none of them are like, oh, that'll never happen. Like there are so many and like the main thing about this game that I've noticed is alternate route Vegeta is like the best character in Dragon Ball Z. Because all of his alternate routes are like, what if instead of doing something stupid, he does something badass?
Yeah.
So like all of his alternate routes are awesome.
That's pretty cool. Well, and dude, especially just as I've gotten older, like he's definitely become one of my favorite characters. Like seeing Vegeta kind of get his due after years of and just getting his butt kicked, and being second fiddle to Goku and stuff. And it's really cool. Piccolo as well, man. I feel like Piccolo, especially over the last few years, has gotten a lot of shining moments.
Yeah, and like the most interesting thing that I found so far was like, after going through, like I said, I've gone through almost all of them, but I've only been going up to the Buu saga, and then I've stopped with every character because like I want to go into the super stuff and stuff, but I kind of want to like see what all of the stories were like. So I was like, I'm just gonna go through Dragon Ball Z, and like the way that they handled like some of these alternate stories is just so like, it's so smart. Like the way that they like nothing that happens where any character is like too out of pocket. There aren't any characters who get like, oh, well, Goku went into the Room of Spirit in time, 5 seasons earlier than he was supposed to. So now he's super strong and he can, no, it's like everything is like, every character stays exactly where they are. They just make one different decision that changes the entire thing. And that's the kind of stuff I like. I don't like characters like getting super strong out of nowhere, or like, oh, well, Vegeta was hanging out and then he discovered how to go Super Saiyan 3 and now he can just finish the Buu saga by himself. Like, I don't like that stuff. I like it when it's just like the characters in the story just make one different decision and it changes everything. And that's almost all of them are like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's on my list of things to buy. I'll probably end up buying it. If I don't get it when my Pro gets here, I'll probably wait till maybe. I don't know if it's going to be on sale on Black Friday through PlayStation. So, but it's definitely on my list. So I'm very ready to give it a go.
Yep, I had a blast. I'm having a blast. And then just for
Would you say
lastly,
that you had a raging blast?
I would say I had a sparking blast.
Whoa!
Ooh. And then Satisfactory, just to wrap my thing up, I am at the end. I was talking about it earlier, but like I am on the last mission right now, and as soon as I finish it, I have completed and done every objective in the game. So
Dang.
it is like 500 hours of me playing this game.
Oh my
And
gosh!
yeah. It's like 500. And I am when I finish it, I don't even know if there's going to be credits. I don't know if it's going to be like, oh, hey, this is the end of the game. Because, like, this type of game, it's so like, and then it just keeps running and running and running. And they'll just, add a new mission after this one. And you'll just keep going and going until they decide to stop. But, like, either way, when I finish this, when I do it, which is probably right after we finish this, I'm really going to go in there. All of the resources that I need to finish the game probably should be done. And I'll literally just push a button, and then if there's some ending, I should get it right there. But
you can keep playing it though after you've beaten it though, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. I could go as far as I want to, but like I'm a real I've noticed something about myself, and it speaks to a lot of things. I'm a real objective based person, and
yeah,
as long as I have an objective, I got 100% gas. Like I can go 500 hours in a game if I've got an objective. But like as soon as I don't have an objective anymore, my energy just wanes very quickly. So that's why like technically I could have done this sooner, and I could have skipped making the nuclear power plant that I made, but like I knew if I didn't make it before I finished the game, then I wouldn't go back and do it. So I was like, I'm gonna do this nuclear power plant now, and then I'll go back. I'll do the last part of the game, and if I want to go back and tweak anything, if I got that mojo to do it, I'll do it. If not, I will have at least done everything in the game. So like I have made every single item in the game. I have built, massive factories, done all kinds of crazy stuff. I, when I was talking about it before, I had to like go back and remake my factory to make, thousands of specific items instead of hundreds. And like, I literally built these like huge factory skyscrapers that are like, like 70 feet tall, 700 feet tall, and just factories on top of factories on top of factories on top of factories in, 5 different of these massive towers and like all kinds of stuff. I built a singularity unit that allows me to teleport around the map wherever I want to be. I have drones that fly things in from faraway locations. I did everything. I've done everything you can do in this game, but like I am literally rounding the last little bit. I'm going to send it, and then I'm going to, unless something else presents itself, which draws me back in, which I don't know 100% that there's not something after this, but I haven't heard anything about it, so I assume there's not. But after this, I'm going to put down Satisfactory and then pick back up Visions of Mana and play some of that and some other games that I haven't had time to play because freaking Satisfactory has been all consuming my attention. So I'm excited to end it, but I'm kind of still waiting to see how I feel once I do. I'm not even 100% sure this like
I gave him a bath, he got me all wet.
Distractions happened.
Yeah. Let me know when you pick up Visions of Mana again.
All right,
I'm waiting for the sale. Oh, did I lose you for a second?
No. There was a distraction entered the room, and she knows what she did. Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited. I am literally the hold that Satisfactory grabbed a hold of me with has been so like strong and kind of alien that I don't know how I'm gonna feel when I finish it. Like I feel like I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm ready to move on, but like I'm also like I don't know, like because I haven't been grabbed by like a game like this in a long time, because like before I was spending so much of my time with streaming, I couldn't get into a game the way I did is Satisfactory because like algorithms and whatnot. And then when Dom was young, it was just I didn't really have time to like play games the way I have been. But now that she's a little older and Lee's a little older, I have a little bit more like wiggle room to not just be, having my laser focus on them. And then Persona 5 came around and then it grabbed me, but like Persona 5 has like a clear ending. Like I could have went back to try and make sure I got every single Persona possible, but I got pretty goddamn close, so I'm not tripping about it. I don't know if I ever got 100%, but I was close.
Yeah, Personas, you can do that, but the gotta catch 'em all stuff, like, it doesn't really pertain to Persona. Like you can, but like there's really not much of a point in doing it. Like
yeah,
main character's not really driven by that stuff.
Yeah,
it's more just like what makes him powerful.
Yeah, and once I got the devil, I was just like, I'm fine.
Oh yeah, the devil was a pain in the butt. Did you do that like legitimately, or did you turn it down to not easy or whatever?
No, I did it legit.
Oh geez, he's so freaking hard. He's so freaking hard, and the devil shows up in a few Persona games.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want you to like maybe try like Persona 3 Reload or like maybe Metaphor or something like that. Like I want to see what you do with it.
I would say they've made it so convenient. It's just a matter of time for me at this point, especially with Metaphor Fantasia just coming out. It's like, do I grab that or do I go for some of these older Persona style games and see how I feel? I don't know what I'm gonna do. Just I'm in a weird area right now because like I've also really wanted to platinum Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but
Jesus Christ! Oh,
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hear it, but I had so much fun in that game. I'm like, I want an excuse to go back and play it like right now. Like it hasn't even been a year yet, and I just want an excuse to go back and play it.
I platinum Remake, and the only I think we may have talked about this at one point, but one of my biggest pet peeves with trophy lists anymore, especially with these big RPGs, is them requiring you to play it twice. They don't allow hard mode until New Game Plus, which I understand because, like, dude, if you attempt hard mode like with a fresh save, you're gonna get your butt stomped. Because these guys are, a lot of them are, they start out at a certain level, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's been my biggest complaint with it. But I went back and I platinum Remake, and some of those bosses were, whew, buddy.
I remember the Hell House. I remember hearing about it.
The Hell House, and that last kind of drive to Sephiroth was a pain in the butt. I'm kind of glad you brought that up because I actually do plan my first game with my Pro is going to be Rebirth, and I think I'm going to start hard mode with it, and maybe try to platinum it as well. So I'm right there with you. You are setting me up for some stuff to talk about with my stuff, definitely. But I think that I think Rebirth is kind of on my radar as well to platinum. So I think that'd be kind of a fun one to tackle together.
Okay. All right. I am done. I'm done gushing. Please tell me what you're playing.
So I'm going to talk about my big one first, and that's Silent Hill 2, and then like literally all my little ones, because I've got a lot of little ones. Do you have much experience with Silent
Hill? Not really. It's a game I've always wanted to get into, but I always have issues with games that are made to make you feel lonely and isolated. It's hard for me to push through when I'm playing by myself. Just a thing.
You won't like this one then, if that's kind of how you feel about those types of games. Resident Evil has always been my biggest touchstone with horror games. It was my first love, and for a lot of people that really don't like the quote unquote action Resident Evil's always been an action game, like through and through, especially if you know those games intimately like I do. The arsenal of guns that you get, I mean, you can play it conservatively if you want to, and a lot of people do. I do. Or you can, you can go through with just a knife, or you can mow people down with, just big rocket launchers and all that other good stuff. Silent Hill's not like that. First time I ever saw Silent Hill, I think I was over at your house, and I think your brother kind of explained it to me. It was sitting on one of your piles. I'm like, what the hell is Silent Hill? And he kind of explained it to me a little bit. I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty dope. And I just kind of put it in my mind palace, filed it away in my file cabinet, and just kind of went on with my life because I didn't have a PlayStation until later. But I was watching Monday Night Raw one night, as I always do, or at least as I used to do, and a commercial for Silent Hill 2 came on, and I'm like, what is this? So I went and I bought the first Silent Hill and played through maybe about half of it and stopped because, dude, it made me feel awful. Like, the themes in those games are just not great. It's really kind of adult themes, and you can't play it like a Resident Evil game where you can just mow things down because you're not really supposed to do that. So I put it down, and I didn't beat the original Silent Hill until just a couple years ago. But I picked up Silent Hill 2, and kind of the same sort of thing happened where, I mean, the themes of suicide and abuse and addiction really kind of drove me off of it, especially like when I was younger, 16, 17, dealing with a lot of those same issues in my own personal life. I didn't really want to mess with it. So eventually I ended up beating 3, and I played 4, wasn't a big fan of that one. Homecoming was technically 5. That one was pretty good. A lot of people don't like that one. And then
5 is
when
the only
Downpour
one
came
that
out,
5 is the only Homecoming is the only Silent Hill game that I have any like lengthy experience with. And I think I actually did it for YouTube, if I remember correctly. I think there's actually a playlist somewhere out there of me playing Resident Evil or Silent Hill Homecoming.
I think that game is legitimately great. Team Silent kind of disbanded after a little while, especially after 4. And Konami's been kind of notorious for farming their stuff out. Even more so now after Kojima's left, and his studio kind of disbanded. But Team Silent, they disbanded a long time ago. So that brings me up to this. Bloober Team gets a lot of crap for putting out very mediocre games. The Medium is their most recent one. Well, no. They did a remake of Layers of Fear, but Medium came out beginning of this console generation, so Xbox Series and PS5 and all that. And a lot of people kind of compared it to Silent Hill. It's not great. It's very okay. So a lot of people were really worried about how they were going to handle Silent Hill 2, especially with it being one of those most iconic games ever, that kind of stuff. This game's outstanding, sir. It's outstanding. I think it being exclusive to PlayStation, I think PlayStation may have helped a little bit with it, considering some of the DualSense haptics that come with it. Like, the only other games that really do haptics like this are Sony games. So your Astrobots and your Ratchet and Clanks. The haptics on this game are fantastic. So just being able to hold the DualSense in it when the horns start blaring, when Silent Hill's getting ready to turn, you can feel it in your controller. And that was always kind of like a buzzword with certain things, like back of the box quotes or whatever. It always sounds kind of cheesy to me, but you could feel it in your hands. The game's great, dude. And I don't know if it's just me being a little more mature, I guess, quote unquote. I'm pretty immature. But or the medium having, by medium, I mean the video game medium, having evolved so much to where it can actually handle a story like this. Dude, it's outstanding. And it's legitimately one of PlayStation 5's best video games.
I definitely remember before it came out, people were extremely worried, and I've heard nothing but good things since.
Yeah, and I know we've kind of talked about revisionist history on a few podcasts. You're going to have a lot of people that pretended they never said anything about that, which, whatever. I mean, I'm through trying to call people out on stuff. But yeah, Bloober knocked it out of the park, dude. I know, and they got a few original Team Silent people to help work on it. I'm not great with names, but the composer for the original Silent Hill games, like he came back and he worked on some of the music with it. I think one of the original directors helped consult. It's fantastic, dude. It's a lot more modern, where the camera's over the shoulder, kind of like Resident Evil 4, and so it does take a little bit away from like the intended direction, like what the game developers wanted you to see. The original one was more fixed cameras, that kind of stuff, so like they could curate exactly what you're going to see. Like there's times where you'll hear something and you won't see it at all. But yeah, and the game's messed up, dude. Like, especially if you have any sort of like prior issues with, just the world's a pretty awful place. If you're triggered by certain themes, I would probably stay away from it. It does start with a kind of a disclaimer, like a suicide hotline. And if you're experiencing any of these issues of abuse or thoughts of suicide and stuff, it is carefully handling these themes, which I don't know if the 2001 version did as well. These topics weren't super prominent back then. They were, but the world's more connected now. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. Is kind of but I put enjoying in kind of air quotes because I don't think anybody really enjoys Silent Hill 2. Like I don't get it. I didn't get any pleasure from playing it, I guess, but the combat's a little bit crunchy, and I thought that was kind of cool. But like Silent Hill 2, just it's depressing and it's melancholy personified. It's gray. There's hardly any color to it. It's sad. It's really messed up. But yeah, it's one of the, if you like survival horror, you're not gonna go into it and mow everything down. You get three firearms and then 2 melee weapons through the game. So you get like a board with nails in it, and you get a metal pipe. But your guns are limited to like a handgun, a shotgun, and a rifle, and that's it. So you get a dodge mechanic, and then they just kind of throw you out into the world. It's more puzzle solving, and there's definitely a lot more enemies this time around. Like enemies in the first one were very scarce. It felt more isolated and alone, kind of like it's Silent Hill is meant to mimic because like Silent Hill beckons people to it, and then it kind of shows you what's in your own like psyche. And the main character in this game is dealing with like loss. Like he lost his wife, and there's kind of hints of like there may have been foul play involved with it, sadness, and there's like about 3 other characters that you run into that are all kind of experiencing issues as well, and like they see certain things that are meant to, like, that Silent Hill intends them to see as well. But dude, the game is just messed up. So yeah, I recommend it though. If you like survival horror, if you like the spoopies, it's the perfect spoopy game. But yeah. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Other than the fact that from what I've seen, like the Silent Hill community is very pleased with how it came out. Like I said, It's one of those games that I don't know if I'll ever be the audience for it, but I appreciate when a fandom gets a game that they love. So
yeah, it's been a long time coming, man. Like Silent Hill fans have taken a lot of L's, as the kids say. P2 being the biggest one of them, man.
Yeah, what the hell?
I genuinely just, I don't know with that one, and I'm not a Konami hater. I'm not a Kojima hater. I'm not a super big fan of Kojima either. Like I like his games and all that stuff, but like the falling out between Konami and Kojima, like you could definitely tell Konami went scorched earth with that thing. They canceled pretty much everything that had to do with Just PT like dude, a Kojima Silent Hill game, just a horror game from that dude was super enticing. And the fact that we never got it really makes me sad. Just I was there when it was new, and that weekend or whatever that it came out, and everybody kind of rallied around it and tried to solve it. It was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. Talking, like figuring out the end of talking to your microphone to the ghost or whatever. Just really cool. This game doesn't do any of those things. Like it's not going to make you do any like extracurricular activities, but it's going to make you think. And I think that sometimes you need a game that is going to make you do that. So yeah, but I mean, that was one of the last games I beat on my PlayStation. I did beat, what is it called, Julius mode on Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. So that was technically the last game I beat on my PS5 before I boxed it up. I'm waiting for the Pro. I've been bouncing around a lot, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, like between the Dreamcast I have, my Steam Deck, I unboxed Drake's Xbox Series S, so I had that hooked up for a minute. I played my Switch for a little while, which I haven't played the Switch in, gosh, maybe since Mario RPG. So like I've played everything from Code Veronica on Dreamcast. I've been playing a little bit of that. On my Steam Deck, I've been playing Sonic Origins. On the Switch, I've got Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door going right now. Xbox, I was playing Assassin's Creed there, the first one, but I will tell you what, I have never had a console crash as much as that stupid thing has. It crashed 3 times during Assassin's Creed. It crashed twice during Halo Master Chief Collection. So that console's in timeout right now. So yeah, I'm all over the place, man. I'm really just anticipating my Pro. I really want to play Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. I've got that loaded up on Drake's PS5, but as I said earlier, I don't really want to go into his room and play it. So I want it on my console, on my TV. Rebirth, I really want to play that one. Alan Wake 2, I've got the DLC loaded up for that. So like when this console gets here, dude, I am raring to go.
All right. Do you got any other games you want to talk about?
Fuck no.
Okay. All right.
No.
I have a very weird, this is going to be short and sweet. I just want to kind of talk about it. This is slightly not safe for work. So for the younger people, I'm going to try and keep it as clean and PG as I can. But
we've been cursing a lot on this one too. So sorry, kiddos.
Okay. So this is one that just got added like in the last like week. So my original topic that I want to talk about, I think I'm still going to, but I want to touch on this a little bit. So
touch it.
I'm going to say I've been listening to on audiobook a story that I'm really getting into. The series is called it's called The Blood Art. Or hold on, let me look this up before I say something wrong. I think the first one's called The Blood Trials, and the second one is called, I think it's called Blood Art, but let me see. The first one is called come here. Freaking Audible, you're such a pain in the butt. Okay, yes. The first book is called The Blood Trials. The second book is called The Blood Gift, and the series is called The Blood Gift Duology. So it's about this girl, and she is part of this military organization. She's at a military school, but like her planet has like magic and super technology and all this stuff. So like her grandfather gets killed, and she's investigating his murder is basically the story, and it involves into an entire war and all this other stuff. But that's not what I want to talk about. I just want to talk about it like it's one of the first books and one of the first like dark, gritty stories that I've listened to where the main character is a woman and the whole story is told from her perspective.
Sounds very woke.
It's insane.
I, I,
Insanely
I'm
good.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. For the love of God, I'm kidding.
It's insanely good, and I've been reveling in it. Like it's just like when I'm like at work and I just need something to do, I'll throw it on. Been throwing it on when I'm at the gym and I'm running. And this part of this story specifically has to do with that. So I am in the gym, working out, doing my thing. And the story is like, I went into this place and like this gang leader, and I'm negotiating with this boss, like gang boss, and we're, hashing out terms for me to buy all her soldiers and her guns so that we can, go and take the army to the Blood Emperor and take him down, like all this like rah rah. And I'm like, yeah, she's gonna go do it. Yeah. And then like after that meeting, they leave. And then they go back to her hotel room with all of her buddies, her military buddies who she brought with her on this journey. And then her and her just happened boyfriend go to her room and do adult things. Now I'm listening to
checkers.
this. So I'm listening to this on audiobook while I'm working out. Okay, I want to be clear about this. It is not like that situation. It's just listening to the female orator of the book describing those adult situations from a female perspective in words in my ear while I'm trying to work out.
Oh yeah. Allie calls that smut, and she loves to read that. Please tell me you weren't wearing loose pants. Is that where this is going?
It's not that situation. It's not that. I'm trying to say it's not that. The problem is, like, have you ever, this is the first time I'm admitting that. This is the first time I have ever listened to a detailed description of that in a book from a female perspective.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I was like, I am ashamed that this is making me uncomfortable. Like I am genuinely ashamed that this is making me uncomfortable. Like I consider myself more of a feminist than that it shouldn't bother me. But I was like, this is hard to listen to. This is hard for me to listen to.
When you're not expecting the naughty stuff and it shows up in a place that you're not expecting it to, the gym, work, whatever, sometimes it can just make us feel a little bit weird.
Like I just was not like, I was not expecting it at all. Like the story has not gone this way I'm listening to an audiobook, but the book is 400 pages long and we're 325 pages. And like all of a sudden it just like drops like into like a scene. I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting this. So then there's another layer to the situation that I have to talk about from a different perspective. And then done, because I'm trying to keep this from getting not safe from work, but it's hard to do with what I'm talking about. So I'm going to keep it short. The book describes the situation as the girl, she has this like magical power that is affected by the moon, and the moon is full. So like her powers are out of control, and then they like turn her, and then she's like absolutely doing things that she wouldn't do in normal circumstances because her powers are causing her to do it, like making her savage or whatever they're trying to explain. And I'm like, I don't know if I have the perspective to say this because I'm a dude, but like that seems a little like messed up to be like, oh, she's hooking up with this dude because her powers are out of control, and they're making her like her powers go out of control, and the first thing she does is just like hook up with a guy. Like that's all of the power from the god in this story. There's like gods, like Greek gods that like bestow powers upon people, but like her power from like this Greek god that she got her powers from just like makes her hook up with this dude. Like that's what it does. Like isn't that a little like, I don't know, like I want to say sexist, but the person who wrote this is a woman. And like, then it's like,
well, does it put the power in her hands though? Like, is she the one in control?
like, I would say yes, but like the way she talks about it is literally no, she could not control what she was doing. Like,
Well,
he didn't
but
control the situation, but she didn't either.
There's a difference between like being like out of control, like being forced into doing it, and like having an urge come over you, and then does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I track with what you're saying.
It's still like the power is still in her hands, but like she has these like, God, this is not where I thought this was going to go, but I'm going to.
I know.
My wife is probably in the other room thinking like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" But like, if the power is still in her hands, but like this full moon thing is making her like lustful or whatever, like it's a feeling that she has is just amplifying it. So the power is still kind of in her hands. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm tracking with you. I just like I'm like that. This makes me like more. It makes it more weird for me, and I'm like, okay, like, and then just like when you if for some random reason, I think this story would honestly be an insane like Netflix show, like maybe even like a HBO show, like so they could be a little bit darker and grittier with it because HBO tends that way. But like,
so they show boobs.
I don't know if they can't show boobs on Netflix, but anyways, but like, I think it would be a great show. But they're just this one little bit in this great story that I've been enjoying, where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, and I don't know if it's my awkwardness around the fact that it's a woman narrating woman business and I'm listening to it is the problem, or if it's this specific scene that's the problem. But like, it was just, I had a weird moment and I was like, I want to share this just so that like I can get it out of my head.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm really in a position to like be able to like speak on that stuff, like just as a guy, but I don't know. Maybe I should consult with the committee on this one.
Yeah. My thoughts are the exact same. I thought that the whole time. I'm like I am a dude. Is this like, do I have enough actual context to be able to decide whether or not this is weird? Is that, am I stepping a little bit? Like, I don't get to make that decision. I'm like, I don't want to think about this anymore. So like, I brought it here so I could get it out of my head and not think about it anymore.
It's that point he turned on Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
That's right.
The second Harry Potter joke I'm gonna make today.
Okay.
Dickie Simpkins autobiography.
Okay, there's my thing. I am done. I feel like you kind of went into your various topics during the middle of your what you're playing. So what do you want to talk about some MCU stuff?
Yeah. Like, I guess, are we doing a twofer?
That is up to you.
Or you just want to make a big one?
I'd rather do two, honestly.
Okay, then I'll save my other thing for that one. But yeah, we could talk about MCU stuff. I'm not sure where I really left off on the last pod.
We were talking your last one. I remember specifically it was Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay, brother, I am way beyond that now. So I know you were really excited about me getting into Phase 4, and I am knee deep in it. So I went back and I gave each letter grade weight. So like an S is 100, A is 90, B is 80, C is 70, D is 60, and F is 50. So every one of these I've given letter grades to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So far the only F that I've given out is the Dark World. But one of these
intros we're gonna have to. I'm just gonna say the Gamedads podcast where we hate on Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I went back and I actually averaged out the first three phases, which I know. So Guardians of the Galaxy 2, that's three movies into Phase 3. So the average for Phase 1 and 2 was actually both 81.67, which gives it a B.
Mm-hmm.
Like Phase 2, I think would have been higher had Thor: The Dark World just never existed. It had a few B's in there, a couple S's. Phase 3, objectively, has been the best phase so far, and I don't think that anybody would disagree with that. It had the longest string of S's, in my opinion. So just to kind of recap, Captain America: Civil War got an A. Doctor Strange, I gave an A. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 got an S. Spider-Man: Homecoming got an A. Thor: Ragnarok got an S.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther got an S.
Mm-hmm.
Avengers: Infinity War got an S. So that's been the longest streak of S's so far. Ant-Man and the Wasp got an A. Captain Marvel got a D.
Mm-hmm.
Endgame got an S. And Far From Home got an S. So that gives it an average of 92.73. That's an A. So objectively, that is the best one so far. Phase 4 has been a freaking mixed bag so far. A lot of these I have not rewatched. I just finished Spider-Man: No Way Home last night. And that so far has been the best grade in the Phase 4 so far. I'm not watching the TV shows. I did make a executive decision not to watch the shows.
Yeah,
because I think I would be here forever doing that. Although that I have watched a lot of these movies episodically. So Black Widow, I rewatched that for the first time. I finished that on the 22nd. I gave that an A. I think Black Widow was really good. Black Widow was really good. I think that my one complaint on Black Widow was it's a movie that came too late. I think that it would have fit really well if you had taken Captain Marvel out and maybe put Black Widow in between Infinity War and Endgame. It would have been. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I completely agree.
Yeah, I thought Black Widow was fantastic. I think some of the CG stuff, maybe the Taskmaster stuff, maybe kept it from getting an S. I don't know, but I do want to rewatch that one. So far, that's been my biggest turnaround. That and maybe Winter Soldier, because I was really down on Winter Soldier first time I watched it. Shang-Chi, I give a C.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Shang-Chi. I think it's okay. I know those two comments kind of contradict each other. Shang-Chi, I thought, was trying really hard to be Black Panther. Like what Black Panther did for like that culture. And I think Shang-Chi was trying to do that, and I think it kind of failed. The best parts of Shang-Chi were Wong, honestly. People were kind of joking about Phase 4 being like the Wong verse or whatever, because Wong's in pretty much everything in Phase 4, like TV show wise and all that. But I think I like Shang-Chi as a character. I think it probably would have benefited from being a little more serious. I don't think Awkwafina was she's funny, don't get me wrong, but I think I'm a little Awkwafina out. The CG in that movie is garbage. And I think that's a kind of a running theme post Endgame.
Yeah. I want to speak on that one real quick.
No, go for it. Yes.
I think that I agree with you. I would probably maybe have put it in a B, but I agree with you because the reason that I don't like I liked Shang-Chi, but the reason that I didn't love it is because with all of the superhero origin stories that we've gotten so far, it feels like they have appropriate stakes. The stakes in a lot of their stories are very singularly focused. It allows you to get more growth from the character, but to put Shang-Chi in a story and then the entire world is at stake, and it never lets you get personally involved with his story because it gets so big so fast, and you never get a lot of him in the story. You just get a lot of everybody else.
Yeah, it's kind of a team mentality with it. I also, like I said, I wish it was a little more serious. Bringing back that one dude from Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
What is his name? Trevor, the not man. I almost said the Mandalorian.
The
not Mandarin.
Yeah.
The bait and switch Mandarin. I thought he was funny, but I don't know. I credit Thor Ragnarok a lot for bringing comedy into the MCU in a way that it hadn't really been before. Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Guardians of the Galaxy was legitimately funny, but Ragnarok kind of like took a kind of a serious character or a character that was trying to be very serious and actually put a comedy spin on it, and it made it better. Thor was kind of like he was like vanilla ice cream, and they put like chocolate fudge on him for Ragnarok.
For some reason, my brain did not want to hear the cream at the end, and I thought you were going to
Cream.
say Thor is like vanilla ice. I was just gonna be like, what? Please explain.
But no, Shang-Chi, like I thought it was very average. Let me tell you, dude, I had the hardest time watching the Eternals. It made me question my own existence. That's not true. I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but dude, the Eternals is hot garbage. That one for if Shang-Chi was not serious enough, Eternals was too serious. I gave that one a D. I think that one is bad. It's not Dark World levels of bad, but like the CG is bad. Like it makes all these weird stakes. It has a lot of weird excuses. Like, well, why didn't you help in the battle with Thanos? Well, we were told not to get involved with human affairs. Okay, okay, whatever. But you get involved in all the other stuff.
Yeah, it
like
I was not going to come on here and make any excuses for the Eternals. I definitely consider the Eternals. I don't know. I want to say that it's the worst movie in the MCU, but I can't get over how bad Thor Dark World is. I think the only reason that I don't put the Eternals lower than Thor Dark World is because Thor Dark World had all the potential and fucked it up.
Yeah. Oh, and in the grand scheme of things, like especially when you watch Endgame, Dark World's very important. It's very, very important to like the overall kind of like mythos of the MCU. Like, with that's the Reality Stone, right?
Yeah, the red one.
Okay, so like with all the implications of that, like everything with Loki, it's important. Eternals is like if somebody did a really wet fart, but did it into the wind. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Just that was really disgusting. I shouldn't have said that.
This one we got loose in this one. This one's got a lot of.
Yeah, I'm sorry, kiddos.
But I agree with you because Thor Dark World is a bad movie, but what I'm not going to say what held it down. There are many things that did, but like there was so much stuff that they were trying to get across in that movie that like it was a vehicle to move us towards Endgame, but like that was first, second, and third on their mind, and then making an actual movie was like fourth.
Yeah.
But the Eternals is just like we just like made these characters, and like according to the lore that we created within our own movie, these characters could have ended in game in seconds.
Yeah.
But instead they didn't do anything. And it doesn't make any sense to why they didn't do anything, because technically they're supposed to be keeping Earth moving forward so that their Eternal can grow inside of the planet and blow it up. But if half the people on Earth die, that slows everything down. Like none of it makes sense. It just is a big excuse to not include any of them in the in-game.
You saying that actually made more sense than the 2.5 hours of the Eternals. No joke, dude. I think from everything you just said made way more. Like it's the TLDR version of it.
And the other thing that makes the Eternals really bad is like the caliber of every person in that movie to turn out how that movie did.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what it screamed to me though? It screamed like, "Hey, come get that Marvel money." You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of actors that had like prestige to them, kind of like Angelina Jolie or whatever, or like the Game of Thrones people. They're like, hey, Robert Downey Jr. did it. You know,
Like,
how about you? You want to get paid? But
like
it's getting paid the movie.
I hear you, but I don't feel like any of the actors like weren't acting. Like this isn't a Peter Dinklage and Destiny moment. Like all of them are acting. like all of them were acting. It's just they were acting in a terrible movie that just didn't need to be made.
Yeah. Well, I still stand behind it, dude. Shang-Chi to Eternals was a really weird 1-2 punch of like not serious and then too serious. I don't know. And we're also kind of in the pandemic area with these movies too. So like not I don't the pandemic didn't really have a lot to do with it, but I think with it what it did have to do, like most other Marvel movies, especially in Phase 3, were kind of like they were all events, and everybody would rally behind them, and we would watch them, and you'd have that discourse, that conversation, whatever you would have it, you have it with all these other people, these fans, and we didn't have that through the pandemic until we got to Spider-Man: No Way Home, and theaters kind of reopened, and people were able to go see it, and we all had that was I that wasn't my first movie back to the theater. It was Ghostbusters Afterlife. Drake and I braved everything. We had our masks on and all that stuff. Like that was our first time being in theater since Sonic the Hedgehog in Valentine's Day 2020. But went and saw was Spider-Man: No Way Home, and I actually just finished that one up last night, and I gave that one an S.
Yes,
I think that's the best Spider-Man movie from the MCU. And it also kind of retroactively makes the other Spider-Man movies MCU movies too.
Like
and Venom.
Yeah, which actually me and Andrea watched Venom like 2 nights ago, the first one, because we actually wanted to go see Venom 3, so we were watching the other ones.
Yeah.
But what I will say about No Way Home is I think they could have given us anything, and we still would have loved it just because it had Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire in it. I think they could have given us anything. But
yeah,
the fact that they took this, like, here's this, like, the best way I can explain it is the same way I think about the way that they do that Final Fantasy VII remake is. They had an opportunity where they could have just given us anything, we would have taken it, but they still took a really big chance and did a really big swing with it.
Yeah.
And I love
it delivered.
Yeah. Like the idea that like something insanely major to, MCU Spider-Man story happens in a movie where the multiverse brings 2 other Spider-Men to his universe and they all hang out and have like a I'm going to point at you and you point at me moment. Like if something major happens in that same movie is like not ballsy, I would say, but like it's definitely a choice that they made that they didn't have to.
It's definitely, it was a fan service moment, but fan service in a good way. I don't think like there's a lot of stuff going on right now where it's nostalgia driven. Like it's like, hey, remember this? Remember this? Like it's here now. You know what I mean? And No Way Home could have easily done that, like you just said. But No Way Home doesn't work without Andrew Garfield or without Tobey Maguire. It doesn't work without Willem Dafoe. It doesn't work without Andrew Molina. Or even like Jamie Foxx or the other jabronis that I can't really think of right now.
Can I say something a little like no homo?
Yeah.
Freaking just the fact that Green Goblin comes in that movie, just Willem Dafoe, just like I don't know if there are a lot of other actors who I would say like just like absolutely chew up the scenery and everything they're in, like Willem Dafoe does. And in this movie, he is at the top of doing it. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone who comes in a movie and just every moment you see him, he's just like, I don't know, he's just dripping with Green Goblin the entire time. Like
Who gives a shit?
every moment that you see him on the screen, you're like I knew from the jump when that movie started, I was like, as soon as he shows up, I'm like, whatever they're planning in this movie is going to go south, and it's going to go south because of him in some really fucked up way. And
Yeah.
like I from the jump, as soon as I saw him, I was like, nah, he's in his bag. This is about to get messed up.
Yeah, and I think that my biggest problem with MCU movies, especially in Phase 4, is like the stakes aren't there. And I don't always mean that as like world threatening stakes like Endgame or Infinity War or whatever. The the way that Willem Dafoe and Tom Holland just like that moment when they're all in Happy's apartment and his spider sense kind of goes off and he's trying to figure out like which one of these guys is getting ready to turn on him, and then he has that like that really just look of disappointment, like he was right the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And in Webb's Dorman's hand up real quick, that realization, dude, like it took a movie where there was some funny bits in it, like all the Spider-Man movies are great, but it took that moment and made it serious. Like, dude, you hit the nail on the head with Willem Dafoe. I think honestly, Willem Dafoe is the best part about that movie. Like, full stop.
It's just like the fact that he's in this movie and like I love all the interactions between the Spider-Man. Like I genuinely love each Spider-Man in my own way. I don't hate any of them. But like the fact that he's in this movie with 3 Spider-Mans and he still stands out is crazy.
Yeah. Well, it says a lot to the other villains as well, too. Like, they definitely have their kind of like with my list here, they've got their S tiers and A tiers and B tiers and all that other stuff. Like Sandman and the Lizard being there is a little funny to me. It's good that they're there, but having the 2 biggest villains being Tobey Maguire's villains
mm-hmm.
is pretty cool. I really liked Amazing Spider-Man. I do. I think Andrew Garfield was probably my favorite Spider-Man out of 3 of them.
He is mine.
But his Rogues Gallery is not great. No. So I wish there was a little more, like a few more moments between Tobey Maguire and his villains. I think that having Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe in the same movie should have been a lot more. There should have been more serious interactions between the 2 of them based off of like how serious the relationship was.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think. Like the thing that makes those villains more like stand out harder than than any of the other Spider-Man's villains is Toby has a personal, intense, and like the entire movie drives this point that he has a personal and intense relationship with Doc and he has with Green Goblin. He has a personal, intense relationship with both of them. So like,
yeah,
the fact that like, they kind of talk in passing a lot of times, and like, the end ends up with like kind of Toby and Andrew being like, no, don't do this, don't be this guy, like, but like it's not an interaction between him and Goblin, which it very should be, and it's an interaction between MCU Peter and Goblin. Like it's like, do you not have you guys forgotten how intensely close their relationship is in the movies?
Right.
Like,
so to that point too, like I think that if they had done that, it would have taken away from like the real star of the show, which was Tom Holland.
Right.
It would have taken away from his story because it would have everybody, like especially like people our age, would have latched on to Toby and Willem Dafoe, like their little feud thing, more than what the movie is supposed to drive Tom Holland's story forward.
Right.
The rest of them are just there as like co-stars, guest appearances, whatever. But it would have taken away from it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but like they, like I said, the fact that they were able to do so much with like this like movie that almost feels like I don't even, not even gonna say almost. It is. It's partially driven off of a meme that someone posted on the internet in 2014, but like
Yeah.
the fact that they were able to do so much with it is just like it's one of those things that like when you see it, then you watch Thor 4 and you're like, how did the same idea process create both of these things?
Yeah. Well, and I'm excited to watch. My next one up is going to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. I genuinely think that like I think if I hadn't rewatched it with the context of like I'm grading these, I've been up and down on No Way Home since it came out and stuff because like I was judging it on the whole like South Park member berries thing, like the oh remember this, but I do genuinely think that movie does those better than some other ones do. Like Star Wars is all about those things right now, and it just sucks. I just lost my train of thought. But no, I
you were talking about how judging this movie based on where it relates in the MCU gives you a
right,
different opinion than just
right.
judging it off of nostalgia. I don't know if that helps or not.
It does. It does. I think having like rewatch it again with this goal in mind of like seeing where I stand with everything helped me out a little bit and actually made me appreciate it more. And I love that No Way Home directly goes into Multiverse of Madness. It is a like one doesn't happen without the other. And I love that 1-2 punch. And I think Multiverse of Madness makes me appreciate No Way Home more and vice versa as well. I love Multiverse of Madness, but I'm also a Sam Raimi guy. It's weird, dude. It's so weird that Raimi got Doctor Strange right after a Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire in it. So strange.
I know you haven't watched it yet, but so we're not talking about it yet. But Multiverse of Madness, the fact that we've gone through so many of these MCU movies without like something that like truly dabbles into like horror elements, and then we get freaking Multiverse of Madness, and like instead of it being some external threat, it's a character who used to be one of your allies is now the horror villain. It's one of my favorite things that they've done in the entirety of the MCU.
It makes me wonder how they're going to tackle Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
To put it in like wrestling terms, like having that good guy kind of like turn heel or break bad or whatever. Like I don't think that I don't know Wanda turning heel kind of like for her own personal gains. Dude, that is pro wrestling in a freaking like in a nutshell. Having like we actually in wrestling we just had Kevin Owens turn heel because Cody Rhodes ended up teaming up with Roman Reigns, somebody that like Owens and Cody Rhodes were, they were friends. They'd been fighting this bloodline thing together. And Cody goes and teams with Roman Reigns. And like Owens has a legitimate excuse to turn on his friend because all that stuff happened. And Roman's been making his life a living hell and all that stuff. So Owens thinks that, his turn is valid and him beating up on Cody Rhodes is valid.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with what's happening with Wanda in Multiverse of Madness. Like she legitimately thinks that people have turned on her and, she's, trying to get, she lost something and she thinks that she's right. And she doesn't understand why other people aren't thinking the same way as her. And she's going to get this stuff done. And it doesn't matter who she's got to go through to get it done. That is freaking wrestling 101. I can't wait to see what they do with RDJ. I don't think he's Victor Von Doom. I think he is Tony Stark.
I mean, they are the way that they have like been leaning into all of the multiverse stuff. I mean, it's definitely an option.
Yeah. I think he is Tony Stark. I mean, it makes sense. At least in my head it does.
I honestly think that would be awesome. Like I'm excited to see where this goes. I mean, the one thing that I'm kind of sitting on a little bit is this going to, I don't know. I'm excited for what's coming out from the MCU. Like, I know that I'm not supposed to be, and this would easily go into one of my next topics for the podcast, but I'm going to save it for next time. I think it'll be funnier.
Okay.
Speaking of which, do you want to go ahead and wrap this up and start part 2?
Yeah, let's start part 2.
All right. We got to do positives first, though.
Oh, okay. Mine is that it is spooky season, dude. Or spoopy season, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Bring on the horror movies. My son is actually getting into horror, which is great. We have watched the first 2 Evil Dead movies together, and he loved them both. Brother, I am so stoked. Like, this is like, almost 13 years of parenting. Like, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Like, he's finished so many Resident Evil games. He got into 4. 4 was his first. He beat that one in VR. He's beat Remake now. He beat 3 Remake. He beat 2 Remake. He plays a lot of like original Resident Evil 2. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. So that's my positive.
Also excited about spooky season. My positive is I'm on vacation right now. I finally made it to vacation, and I did one of those. I think this has just been on there for a while, but it might have, I might have updated it. I did a self check-in, and I sat my butt down, got out a notebook, and wrote down what I want to accomplish for the rest of the year. I wrote down what kind of my personal missions are for the rest of this year, and just doing it and like really taking some time to think about it and process got me really like charged up for what's coming next. Like, I've got like, I'm excited about going back to work. I'm excited about, working on stuff while I'm on vacation. I'm excited about, getting back into my groove. And that's the best way to feel. It's awesome to feel excited about what's coming next, even if it's work. I'm excited about going back to work and, taking my new refreshed energy to my work. So that's a great way to feel. And if you don't if you haven't checked in with yourself to kind of write down, well, what you want to accomplish, how you feel, what your goals are, take a second. And it might, you might find some renewed energy in just thinking about it in that way. So that's mine.
Wow. That's awesome, dude. I love that. That inspires me to be better. Just check in and make sure dude, if you hate your job, that kind of stuff, like, there's things that you can do to change that, I'm pretty, that was me this year. You know what I mean? Take a step back, realize what's important, and then, take steps in order to get that stuff taken care of. So you only got one life. You know what I mean? You gotta make it a good one.
Yeah. And the last thing that I'm going to say is right off the back of what you just said. You only have one life. And no matter what your current situation is, you can change it if you choose to. And, if you are doing something you don't want to do, even if you can't quit your job and then immediately jump in to be a, animator or whatever you actually want to do, there are always steps you can be taking to get yourself in that direction. There's always something that you can be doing to get you closer to what you actually want to do.
Definitely. Yep.
Okie doke. So, Wimmity Wham Wham Wazzle. We're going to stop this one and then immediately go in and record a second one because we are behind and we need to get caught back up, and I think this will do it. So, Wimmity Wham Wham Wazzle.
Tom Large Bar sent you.
Peace.